Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the webinar The State of IoT in Latin America. This month, IoT is in the spotlight, and we have other two webinars plus Latin chats scheduled to talk about the evolution of IoT in Latin America and Canada. This campaign is sponsored by Betelia Electric Bikes. Betelia is an IoT startup originated from Mexico, successfully expanding in Canada and USA. They are invited to our webinar about IoT challenges and opportunities, and you can be part of these webinars for free thanks to Betelia. So the numbers and statistics contained in this webinar were based in a white paper made by if you go to www.4gamericas.org, you will find a complete white paper about IoT in Latin America. So we can share that document with you as well once we finish this webinar. So now to just reminding you, if you have been in other webinars with us, you know that after we finish this webinar, you can actually send your questions or chat with us through hashtag LATAM Startups, or send us comments, questions to contact@latamstartups.biz. So let's start with this webinar about IoT. This month, as I said, IoT is in the spotlight. So communication through IoT will grow exponentially in the next years, and it is estimated that international market of IoT will grow from $655.8 million in 2014 to $1.7 billion in 2020. Having an annual growth close to 17%. So IoT is really booming up in different markets around the world. So we are going to present those statistics first about the general market, and then we are going to go deep into Latin America in general terms. Gartner Inc. has estimated that by 2020, the world will have 20.8 million of things connected. And in 2016, daily 5.5 million things get connected to internet. These numbers for sure are growing, and you can see here in some of our some of the graphics that we are showing here, how exponentially is this actually growing in different markets. And this is kind of the global stage of growing in IoT. This first image is about the quantity of connections in a global base, and the second one has very conservative numbers regarding how we'll grow, every year. In the forum, they presented these numbers just, taking care, considering the previous numbers in other years, but we know that probably these numbers are going to be bigger than it shows right now here. So one of the most growing industries in IoT is the automobile sector. Vehicles connected in specific cars are adopting new connections, are adopting technologies with internet. Estimated that 70.5% of the cars that actually currently have connections with internet will grow up to 75% new cars connected in 2020. Parks Associated, this is another institution, shares some data showing an estimation of 78% of the drivers with cars connected will request a standard connectivity in the next purchase. This means that the new, new customers will request this in the future, is what they estimate, 78%. From a survey made from 2,000 buyers in Brazil, China, Germany, and USA, the study showed that 13% of the buyers were not considering to buy a car without connectivity. And more than a quarter of those answering the survey prioritized connectivity over other functions like motor power and fuel efficiency. There are also challenges regarding this connectivity. Some customers, especially in the USA, have concerns with connected cars. 45% of those answering those questions in the survey have concerns about buying cars connected to privacy reasons, and 43% are afraid that their cars could suffer a cyber attack. So this part actually, is very sensitive in North America, and numbers shows that the population in North America, besides that they like the fact that their cars can be connected, they also have highly concerns about how these connections are going to be private or not, or will be, will have some cyber attacks or something happening with that. So here you have some statistics about the global cars shipped and those that have shipped with connectivity around in the global market. So the red one is those that have actually connection with internet right now, and the blue one is the traditional car that we have in the market. So you can see here that exponentially that number is going to be increased in the next year, and these numbers are represented in millions of cars per year. Regarding wearables, Cisco is estimated that this sector will be multiplied by 6 from 2015 to 2020. From 97 million people using wearables connected to 600 million people. Some subsectors increasing this tendency are fitness and health, virtual reality, glasses and cameras, and smart clothes. Those are kind of the tendency in the world to actually, get wearables connected. So talking now about Latin America. Now, entering to understand the development of IoT and COIoT in Latin America, Machina Research, which is another institution that also provides some good numbers in the market about IoT, suggested that the growth percent in the sector will be close to 27% from 2014 to 2024. But Latin America has also big challenges to develop solutions in IoT. In particular, the government needs to guarantee high quality internet access that in the past year had been improved, and you probably could see that in some of our webinars. We were showing how internet is improving through Latin America regarding penetration in different countries, but it's still in some countries remains behind of some of the biggest economies in the world. So we still have, not enough numbers growing in Latin America to make sure IoT will develop, in a success rate or, catch up the rate at the global stage. Some other challenges are related with taxation. Some countries have taxes over communication, especially mobile services, and this affects the implementation of services in IoT. Some of the markets that are dealing with this problem are Brazil, Argentina, Dominican Republic, Uruguay, Chile, and Bolivia. Having taxes over the average in the world, these countries have an average 22% of taxes over telecommunications, especially mobile services. In some other countries in Latin America, like Mexico, Panama, and Colombia, those taxes to mobile services go to from 3% to 10%. So in those countries, probably the problem is not as big as in the first that I mentioned it. So it's reasonable for any market to conclude that the opportunities as well, there are opportunities as well as disadvantages while developing new solutions in technology. And this is a simple SWOT that we are going to present here, where we are going to talk a little bit more about the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So about these traits, we can say that mobile services are in expansion right now. So as you could see in other webinars, this is increasing. Mobile services has been successfully expanding in Latin America. All Latin American countries currently have good networks with some operators offering wide mobile band. And the exception, probably the only two exceptions right now are services in Cuba and Salvador. Other than that, the other countries actually are getting those good services with wide internet band. The other straight that Latin America has right now is the growing market in 4G LTE. It is estimated that Latin America will have around 29 million of mobile lines. From those, 83 million are LTE. Until 2020, LTE will be the technology with the main growing in the region. Due to this situation, mobile network will be the best option to offer Internet of Things. This is the second probably straight that we have, and then we have also a third one regarding established operators. Same as the other regions in the world, Latin America is getting more established operators, with some players having good distribution channels, economies of scale, and a strong presence in the market. Therefore, all investments and advances in IoT could be done in countries with good perspective. So this helps to think in solutions for regular people to corporate, so it will actually help all kind of population that we have right now in Latin America. But also we have some weaknesses. So regarding the weaknesses, legal frame regulations are outdated, and many gray areas or illegal actions are still in Latin American market related with new technologies. Technology grows so fast that sometimes it's really difficult for governments to catch up with the new things coming up to the market and regulate the actions from startups developing new solutions. IoT is very new in Latin America, and it is still in the table to discuss how to regulate many new solutions coming from IoT in some of the countries in Latin America. There is also a digital gap. The growing scenario in mobile and internet access is good in Latin America. From 2006 to 2013, the population accessing to internet grew from 20.7% to 46.7%. Still, you can see in that number that more than 50% of all Latin America is lacking access to internet. So this is something that Latin America is still kind of work in progress, but it's adapting really, really fast. Currently is a weakness. Allocation of a spectrum, Latin America is just meeting the 25% of the recommendation from the UIT regarding allocation of radioelectric resources, and this is key for the development of IoT solutions. The other weakness that we have right now is the lack of expertise. The cell services in IoT require experts, and from the understanding of the necessary from corporate clients to those that use the services as a personal matter. Tech sales force in Latin America lack knowledge in the technical aspect, and they rely their sales in the number of sales lines sold, minutes offered to the customers, and data megabytes for consuming. So these are probably the four points regarding weakness right now in Latin America in regards of IoT. So let's go to what are the opportunities. So opportunities, well, users are willing to adopt new technologies. The Latin American consumer has a tendency to adopt new technologies, growing in LTE and the massive use of social media network are the two best examples right now to show how Latin America has some markets that actually are adopting really, really fast new technologies. From personal experience, I can say that not all markets have early adopters, but we certainly have very, very strong markets in Latin America that adapt technology and even pay for startups to actually go and develop or taste their technologies there in order to adopt faster technologies. So this is really, really big opportunity. The other opportunity that we have is that some governments are supporting the creation of smart cities. So in Latin America, there is a supportive movement in the transformation of the cities into digital cities, also known as smart cities. Some of those cities are Medellin in Colombia, Buenos Aires in Argentina, Puebla in Mexico, Cartago in Costa Rica. So, and those cities in specific, there is a there is a public politic well, policy in work in progress, let's say, that is actually supporting, the city into become a smart city. And these cities, governments are looking to have a more modern public services, and they they would like to have them for sure interconnected. So the other opportunity also is in the support of the creation of more startups in local communities. Many governments in Latin America have created public programs or have support private programs to create more tech startups in their countries. So in specific in this point, we get many questions, about what kind of programs Latin America has right now that are supporting the creation of startups, or how is funding coming up from those programs, or how it works. So we usually have some sessions where we actually can talk about that. And coming up is LATAM 101, which is one of the workshops that we have. The first one is going to be here in Toronto. We have the headquarters, and in a specific, we are going to talk about these programs, and that session will be on March 22nd. So if you're in Toronto, don't miss it, and we are going to talk about that. The other opportunity is the global industries. Latin America has a long history of being a region with developed sectors. In commodities, the new industry in IoT could take advantage of the global corporation already established in Latin America under sectors as agroindustry and the oil sector, for example. So we have very traditional sectors that really, really have big corporations already with, based there. So we can take advantage of from that for sure. An open scenario for mobile virtual operators. So some governments have established regulations to open doors to the mobile virtual operations as a strategy to increase levels of competitiveness. And it's true that mobile virtual operations won't modify radically the competitiveness scenario, but it could include new business models for those developing solutions in IoT. So there you have very good for opportunities to actually develop startups in IoT or solutions in IoT. So the last one actually is the threats. So one of the things is the regional economy. This is also one of the most common questions that we get in our workshops is, what about, the stability of the economy in some countries, or in all countries in Latin America, because people usually see Latin America as the whole, as a region, and if one country has problems, well, then people just assume that those problems will pass to the other countries, so will be a mess also in other countries. Part of that is true. Besides that, many economies have been relatively stable for many years. Still, some countries have some uncertain political and economic situation. So this affects the entire region sometimes, but not always. It depends how you see it. like for example, there are solid economic blocks like the Pacific Alliance. That specific block has four economies that really they have been stable for many years, and they have similar politics, and they have similar way to work, and they are looking forward to keep working together. So in this case, I will say, it will depend where you enter, but for sure, sometimes, there are certain situations that may affect the whole region. So that's one of the threats. And the import barriers, that's the other one. Some markets have high taxes to import technology. This may be a way to impact the development of IoT in some countries. And the third one will be the taxes. As we commented above, some countries have high taxes for telecommunication services, and this may affect as well IoT development in some countries. So basically, those are the three considerations for threats. In conclusion, we can say the following. So besides all the challenges that Latin America has shown, um, actually Latin America has a great potential to keep developing IoT solutions. Already there is a good number of startups facing those barriers and growing against the odds. There are positive changes in Argentina, Colombia, and other countries from the Pacific Alliance. Especially Mexico has a great potential in this sector. Mexico has a very traditional manufacturing sector with well-established world corporations. With a combine of talented engineers, Mexico could become leader in this sector. Certainly, we have highlighted that last year, and we believe, in the next years, Mexico will be kind of one of the leaders in this area in particular. So just to give an example, Cisco Live is the biggest event for developers in the region, brought around 5,000 professionals in technology in Mexico. So, and that certainly shows some of the potential that they have there. So to develop this sector, same as other technology sectors, Latin America has to work hard in social inclusion, government, and private sector. So right now, this is our presentation about IoT and how is the state of IoT in Latin America. We are going to go ahead and request your questions or comments. And in the meantime, while you are sending us those questions, I'm going to present you what is coming up regarding IoT here. So the first thing is to let you know that the next webinar will be the state of IoT in Canada. So you will see there are some compares regarding the numbers here in Canada, how this sector is growing here and all that, with, the compare with Latin America. And then in March 15th at 12 p.m., we are going to have some challenges and opportunities. We are going to talk about the challenges and opportunities in the IoT sector. So we are actually bringing up some experts from Canada and Latin America, people that already are, very involved with IoT in both Latin and Canada. So they are going to talk about, those challenges and how we can improve, this sector in Latin America and Canada. Probably the connectivity as well between Canada and Latin America in this part. And those webinars are free, so you can sign up anytime. So right now, the other event that we have is LATAM Chats. So this is one that happens in Twitter. So if you have a startup and you want to share your experience as developing IoT, please send us a note. We are happy to invite you to our chats and to talk about, your challenges, also opportunities, and how you become kind of an IoT company in the market right now. So for now, we think that we don't have any questions for now. But if you have questions later, please let us know. You can send us your questions to contact@latamstartups.biz, or to the hashtag LATAM Startups, and we will be happy to answer you anytime. And if you need the report about Latin America that we just presented here briefly, the report actually contains several pages. So if you would like to have that, we can certainly pass you the link, and we'll be happy to share that with you. This company made a really, really great work making a white paper about IoT. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this information kind of highlight the IoT sector in Latin America, and we hope to see you in our next webinar. Thank you.